When learning about Rousseau and his work, one of the main quotes that stuck out to me was from Rousseau's A Social Construct, which states, "Man is born free and everywhere he is in chains." I found this quote in particular interesting because I feel like it pretty much summarizes Rousseau's whole chain of logic. To understand Rousseau, you have to understand that first, he was an Enlightenment thinker from the Enlightenment era, and he was kind of inspired from the men before him who were in the scientific revolution. Just like the scientific revolution thinkers, Rousseau wanted to also understand the mysteries of this world, but in particular the mysteries of the human mind, its passions, its habits, one's soul, as well as a person's habits, and much more. Rousseau also wanted to understand, why would human beings who are so free and have so many rights and can do as they wish, why would they join a society that can potentially strip away all those freedoms and rights from them? Rousseau also believes that all people have something called the general will. The general will is one's will and truest desires, and he believes that everybody's general will should be accounted for. He claims that in order to have a very successful and functioning society, the governments in these societies should be based on the people's natural will. He claims that it is very unnatural to force people into a society, especially when the society doesn't give people what they want and need, because then it just leads to chaos, as people will start revolting so they could form their own society where they feel like their needs and wants are being met. He claims that in order to have a successful government, the government needs to accept that all people have a general will. And from there, the government must harmonize the laws and regulations with the will of each of its citizens. He says that the most legitimate state is a state where the citizens don't actually have to compromise. This is where the rights come in. Rights give more power to general will, and the general will is impossible without equality. Rights are about equality and privileges, and rights are essential to the general will. In order to obtain the general will, there must be rights. The general will also helps ensure that there is peace and order in society. Once people join a society, they're expected to give up their freedoms and rights, but in return, they're also given back their freedom and rights. So essentially, they didn't really give up anything. The government is a reflection of the people because people are able to practice their rights, such as the right to vote, to bear arms, freedom of speech, and much more. In the government, people are able to practice their right to vote, to pick a candidate who they think will be best fit to represent them. This allows for all people to decide what laws should be made and whom to enforce and make such laws. The general will is impossible without rights. And in a society, you can give people all the rights they could possibly want and more. But if there is no equality, then there is no general will. And without any of those things, there pretty much isn't a successful functioning society either.